opportunity to put your phones on vibrate. Call to order. Welcome. I'm Commissioner Kathy Henderson, chairperson of this commission. It is my opinion that this meeting is out of order. It's improperly called. It was not properly noticed. I am asking the conveners of this meeting to provide notice, proof of notice within 2 business days. And that includes, well, if you're using photographic evidence, it should include date stamped photos indicating that the meeting was posted in each single member district as required. I didn't see any in my single member district, and I didn't see any copies in the other single member districts. And furthermore, I'm finished. The chair has the floor. Please wait to be recognized. Thank you. Further, the bylaws indicate that the meeting is to, if there are 3 ways you can call a special meeting. The chairperson can call a special meeting, the executive committee can call a special meeting, or 3 commissioners may request a special meeting. The meeting notice says that 4 commissioners requested a special meeting, and implicit in a request is an expectation of an answer. You can't just call a meeting and then say it's a request when you don't contact the chairperson. So that's out of order, and I've asked the Office of the Attorney General to address the matter. And if in fact there is proof that this meeting is properly noticed and in order, any votes taken this evening will be properly recorded accordingly. So at this time, I would ask that the secretary call the roll. Commissioner Buggs, please call the roll.
Good evening. Patty Gaywood, Keisha Shropshire, present. Adam Roberts,
Present.
Bernie Blackmail,
Present.
Kathy Henderson,
Present.
Clarence Lee,
Present.
I am Yvonne Buggs. There is a Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Let's see, the first item on the agenda, excuse me, is a letter of support for zoning variances for Pierce Investments LLC, and I see the applicants in the audience. The floor is yours. But before we begin, Commissioner Blacknell, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I did want to say something. There was proper notification. There was a notice put outside of my building on last Tuesday in reference to this meeting.
That speaks to one notice. I looked in my single member district. I didn't see any anywhere.
Well, it was one. They were posted in my honor because I got calls from my constituents in reference to that.
Thank you, Commissioner Blacknell.
You are.
Chair recognizes the Secretary, Commissioner Buggs.
The meeting was properly noticed. I have pictures from every single member district. I just didn't bring with me today. I'll make sure you have them. I will forward them to you this evening.
Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry. Please come forward.
Good evening, my name is Marish Moldenhauer. I am zoning counsel for the applicant, Pierce Investments. Happy Separ is here on behalf of the applicant. The architect indicated he was around the corner, but I can go through, kind of walk through that. get to use your plan. What we've done is we have worked with the neighborhood and held another small single-member district meeting this past Friday, at which over 15 people attended. We had letters of support and individuals that indicated their support for the project. What we had done was we actually, and I can show you a small diagram, and I apologize for the small size of this, but we had actually pulled the entire top portion of the building back, reducing the request for the FAR, and also then setting it back over 24 feet from the property line on that top floor, making it so that it's no longer visible from the street. All of the neighbors indicated they were very happy with this modification. There was also last time discussion regarding the rear lot line. Previously in our original submission, we had requested the full 15-foot relief from the rear property line. We've actually now pushed the building back by 10 feet and reducing the court size on the property and pushing it back so we could accommodate that. Not pulling it forward on the front facade, that was one of the issues, but we pushed it back. Pulled it back off of the property line, so now it actually is a 10-foot rear yard. We still need to request rear yard relief because it requires a 15-foot rear yard, but we have substantially moved that now, so it now creates an even larger distance between the rear of this property and the properties on Moore Street. Now there's over 125 feet between the two. We've reduced the number of units because we've obviously taken off, pulled back that top floor, so it's no longer visible from Florida. We originally had 52 units in the project. We had reduced them down to 47, and now we're at 45 units, providing the adequate number of parking. We're not asking for parking relief, but those are kind of the summary of the changes. And at the meeting this past Friday, as I indicated, the people that were present at that SMD were very supportive, were acknowledging and very happy with that change of setting back the top floor so you can no longer see that from the street level. And I believe Commissioner Buggs indicated that even the adjacent property owner sent a letter of support encouraging that the ANC support the project.
Thank you. I have a question and then I'm going to open it up.
Yeah, we're no longer asking for height relief. We had that reduced that. So it's no longer we are asking for 53 feet in height. We pulled it down to 50 feet in height. So the only areas of relief that we're asking for is reduced FAR to mitigate the environmental conditions, and then only 5 feet in rear yard relief.
Okay, I'm just going to make sure that I'm clear. You've pulled the building back 10 feet. Does that mean you pulled the retail or what the designated retail component was off the street and back, or not?
The whole building is actually pulled off of the property line. The property line is actually substantially forward from all the other homes. So the structure of the property line has not changed from last time. We pulled the top floor back, is what we pulled back.
Okay.
And we can show you larger images of what I just showed you. I apologize, the small size, but we now have the larger images. If any of the commissioners would kind of like to see a quick illustration of kind of how it's changed.
And just because I was at the meeting also, we clear there's no more, the retail is only as an option. There's no height retail, right?
In order to
if somebody wants to lease it and make it retail, they'll make accommodations for it, but if they don't get a tenant for retail, it's going to be a living unit.
Yes, and that was kind of addressing some of the concerns about not having a vacant retail space on Florida. We're no longer having that 13-foot retail height because we're lowering the building to 50 feet. But what the applicant has indicated is that if a retailer indicates that they would be willing to work with a 10-foot height structure, we'd be very happy to put a local servicing neighborhood retail facility in that space, and he will hold that unit to be the last that would sell in order to possibly provide an opportunity for retail space. That would be neighborhood servicing, but it would also have the possibility it's not going to stay as a vacant space. It would be occupied by a residential unit if we could not find it.
These are condos?
They're big condos.
Okay.
Are there any other questions?
So this was the 50 feet high. This was the original 50 foot high building, and these changes that were made after the discussion here and discussion with our neighbors. And certainly what we've been describing is that this the top floor has been pushed 24 feet from the
24
face of
feet.
this building. And now this is, about 42 or 43 feet high.
And so you said the top floor will not be visible from the street?
That's correct.
Yes, we have line of sights that show that it will not be visible from the street.
With regard to the portion that was designated for the street level retail, it seems to be configured into bays. If you're not able to use that as retail, are you going to change it and reconfigure it so that it is multi-purpose or can be used for living space?
Right now, because of the height reduction, initially we were asking for the 53, and then we go further and we lost another floor. We don't have the height. It's going to be about 10 feet of the height that is on that floor. So we're going to be build that one flexible. It's going to be flexible. So either going to be residential or if there are customers
No, I understand that, but I'm saying it appears that there are bay structures,
right.
which lends itself to retail and not residential. So are you going to change that, or are you going to move forward
No, we're
with
gonna
the
move.
presentation as bays?
We're going to move forward with bays for residential or commercial.
Okay.
The appearance would be the same, and this was obviously, we had bays in the original all residential design as well, so it's the same general concept. This is just obviously, we worked with the community extensively. We had a lot of opposition originally to this more modern metallic kind of structure, and so we've actually changed it to a much more Victorian style based on communication with the community, and obviously we've changed the window structures to be more residential on the top, smaller linear type of windows, and we've also changed the fact that it's brick, so it's more in keeping with the community, and a lot of the community has been very positive with the redesign.
Are there any other questions from the commissioners?
And my last one, because I didn't ask this Friday night, so the yellow house that goes with the park, you can tear that down?
That's correct. Okay.
Okay, okay. And can you please just briefly recap your remediation, your environmental problem remediation plan? And then we're gonna open it up to the audience for any possible questions.
So obviously the property has been a environmental storage for gas and oil since I believe it was like the 20s, and so there have been a significant number of gas tanks that were on the site. A lot of them have been removed, but there are still a number of them existing on the site that need to be removed and then have environmental remediation done to the soil. The soil will then is going to have to go through the proper, and the applicant has already worked with a qualified, licensed environmental company that's provided a corrective action plan that goes through the proper process with DDOE to ensure that it is all done properly. But no matter what, whoever works on the site has to go through these issues, and so that leads to our unique condition and our practical difficulty here.
And you are telling us that you have been working with DDOE and the EPA, or just DDOE?
Yes.
Oh, no, this is just a DDOE concern, and DDOE has approved the action plan, how to clean it, how to go about it. They have their own procedure. We made application and they have approved that already.
And for members of the audience, DDOE is the District Department of the Environment. And they are the lead agencies in environmental issues, and they work very closely with the EPA. Okay, are there any other questions from the commissioners? Are there any questions from the audience?
Can you tell us what are some of the corrective procedures that DOE has asked you all to abide by?
Basically, the basic is to do with the removal of the tanks. There are tanks underground, and you see many gas stations. It's typical, and then they have a procedure of how to remove them, and then there have to be inspections. The DDOE inspectors have to come and inspect, and then it has to be disposed properly. The soil has to be sent to a specific location where it is handled properly. You cannot just send it to any dumping site. And so those are the requirements. And after that is cleaned up, it has to be, they have to come and monitor it and take samples. Based on the samples, they will give you a final clearance if everything is okay. And then after that, we will make sure that there's something called engineering controls to make sure that there are no future problems. So they put systems where any fumes or anything, if there is any, able to exit from the building instead of going into the building, it has to go out. So those things have to be implemented, and BDO has to approve those.
And how long
inspect.
does a process like that take?
It'll probably take about 4 months, but once we start from construction, once everything is cleaned up, it will take about 4 months or so.
And if you're interested, we actually included the corrective action plan, in our submission that identified everything that the applicant just said. You know, interim measurements, disposal, of the soil, conducting daily soil, evaluations, you know, confirming the soil samples, onto the engineering controls and everything else is actually part of our application to the public, so they can review that.
Are you offering, I'm sorry, did you have one question?
How big are those tanks that you have to remove? You say you have to remove tanks?
Yes, I mean, there are about, I think about 5 or so left, still underground.
And how large are they? How large are they?
They range from 550, I can tell you in gallons, from 550 to 25,000 gallons capacity. So I can't see what the measurement is.
Thank you.
Are you offering a community benefits agreement?
This is a BZA case, so, with a BZA case, we have to satisfy the legal standards of whether the property is unique, whether that uniqueness creates a practical difficulty, and whether there is, no impact of the zone plan, and we believe that we satisfy those 3 standards. The project obviously, as we indicated before, we think that it's a great benefit to remediate these environmental issues. We have worked with the neighbors, in regards to identifying the IZ requirements that will be satisfied as required on the site. We think that obviously, you know, addressing those issues and bringing a garage facility, which is not permitted and is a non-conforming use currently, to a conforming use in the C2A zone, but it's a residential block, bringing residential back to this block where current non-conforming garage use is currently occurring, to be a benefit.
And are you stating that as your community benefit agreement?
There is no community benefit agreement process, that's only through TUD, but we are identifying those as part of the asset that we believe are contributing to the public benefit.
But my question is, are you going to submit that? I understand it's not part of your submission. Are you going to submit it as you articulated, or is this just your proffer at this meeting and possibly other meetings?
We have submitted and submitted that to the BZA.
Thank you. And would you also provide a copy of that to this commission? Thank you.
I have a question. You're gonna move all the 5 tanks that's under?
All the tanks have to be removed.
And all the soil, so the
All-
soil around it, the tanks, it's not just the tanks.
100% of that dirt in that site, up to a depth of 10 feet, has to be removed.
Okay, Commissioner Bugs, have you received any letters of opposition from anyone in your single member district?
No letters of opposition. I have received, a letter of support. And I'm not sure the reason how I got that, but I will forward that to you. And to you.
Thank you. Is it just one letter?
Is it one letter?
Thank you. Are there any other questions? I want to thank you both both 3 of you, for taking the time to confer with the community and to be responsive to some of the concerns that were raised. I'm very happy that you pulled the project back. What I was hearing overwhelmingly is that the project was too massive, and I'm still not convinced that it is the proper mass for that site, but I think you're moving in the right direction.
So, Madam Chair, I had
Yes.
4, S&D meetings. All of them were pretty well attended.
And when you say, I'm sorry, when you say pretty well attended, can you give me an approximation of how many people?
Approximately 15, no less than 15 people.
Thank you.
At each. And, at the first meeting, there was, I think, a group of 25, and there was a lot of opposition at that time. The site that they brought to us initially was humongous. It was set out on the sidewalk, and so the constituents all complained about that. They met with the constituents, 3 more times, and couple of Friday sessions. And now I had no, on the meeting that we had on Friday, there was no opposition.
Now, when you say private sessions, what do you mean by that?
And that's the owners of the houses right next to this property without the commission, without us.
How many owners?
One of the owners had a very specific concern about some of their questions about the architecture. So they met specifically with our architect to discuss that, so we can try to incorporate their concerns. There are four other adjacent property owners that we specifically impacted by the site to try to understand what their concerns were, so we can address them.
And the one that lives in this White House to,
Would be next door to it.
right, yeah, right, yeah.
She was the most vocal at the first meeting in the last.
And
Now she's the one who gave us the letter of support.
Letter support, yeah.
Okay.
And then basically we had a private meeting to try, and then for that reason we pushed the building so that it's flush, and that was one of her issues. So we made that, and then also another was the height, which again we tried to accommodate the concerns.
And since your initial submission, have you received any additional commentary from the Office of Planning? If so, what is it?
Only what's been filed, we have not received anything else from them.
Any other questions? Is there a motion?
So,
Mr. Bugs?
I'd like to make a motion, to give the peers development another support. Because there was, no opposition, everybody that, we met with, most everybody we met with supported them.
Okay. Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and properly seconded that the commission provide a letter of support to Pierce Investments LLC, 1124 Ford Avenue, Northeast. Is there any discussion? Are you ready for the question?
Yes.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? The motion carries. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, when's your start date?
Is it still fluid or?
A little bit,
Hopefully we don't hit the winter time. The permitting process takes quite a bit. Hopefully we can make it before the end of the year. Depending on if you can give us help with DCRA, then we'll start a bit sooner.
The next item on the agenda is January 13th, approval of the minutes. Starting with January 13th, January 23rd, February 10th, March 10th, April 14th, May 12th, May 22nd. I would like to note for the record that this is, I believe, the third attempt to address meeting minutes approval. We had a properly called special meeting where this issue was on the agenda. Only 2 commissioners voted to approve the minutes. That was myself and Commissioner Lewis. We had a subsequent properly called special meeting requested by our secretary, Commissioner Bugs. Commissioner Bugs did not attend that meeting. We didn't have a quorum, and the minutes were thus not approved. So here we are again. The minutes have the January 13th and January 23rd special minutes. I read at, I believe it was the May meeting. Since I took those minutes, Madam Secretary, do you have those minutes?
Minutes that you read?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd like a copy. Since I took those minutes, you didn't take them. And you also have a copy of the special meeting minutes
I do.
And may I have that as well, thank you. Read these for this record. Meeting called to order at 7 p.m. By myself. Greetings, roll call, Commissioner Henderson. Commissioners present, we have a quorum established. Delegate Lewis, 5D01, Keisha Shropshire, 5D02, Adam Roberts, 5D03, Release Blackmail, 5D04, myself, 5D05, Yvonne Bugs, 5D06, Clarence Lee, 5D07, and Lieutenant Derek Gray provided the public safety report. Briefly, the officers will continue to go door to door with literature and will increase visible patrols. Officer Light and Officer Smith were applauded for their heroic actions. They disarmed a youth that allegedly tried to commit suicide by police. The youth was linked to a carjacking. Administrative matters, treasurer's report. I provided for the treasurer's report. Beginning balance was $48,525.02. Checks that were written and cleared are $150 for $17, $151 for $2.10, $149 for $27.26. Check 225 for $162.97. Check 227 for $108.30. Check 146 for $44.20. 226 for $34.98. 144 for, can't see it with this big draft. $18.49. Thank you, Commissioner Lee. Check number 230 for $7.94. Check number 145 for $7.15. Check number 229 for $7.15. 228 for $481, 147 for $477, 223 for $454, 222 for $390, 224 for $124, 154 for $442, 153 for $300, 152 for $68.90, 155 for $15.95, 157 for $15.12. 156 for $14.36, 141 for $505.40, 142 for $254.30, 148 for $82.99, 143 for $33.96, 173 for $51.63, 174 for $421, 175 for $252.05, 176 for $10.95. With an ending balance of $46,360.04. I offer the motion to approve the treasurer's report. It was seconded by Commissioner Lewis, and it was approved 6-0. There was a motion to reimburse myself, Commissioner Henderson, for $25 for refreshments for the December meeting. The motion was made. I made the motion and it was seconded. I believe there was an issue before. You said you did not second it.
And Commissioner Lewis said that she didn't care.
Let me note that correction. I made the motion to reimburse for that expenditure, seconded by Commissioner Lewis. It was approved 6-0. And we made a motion to approve the December 2014 minutes. I made the motion, Commissioner Lewis seconded, it was approved 6-0. And we have the election of officers. Jason Adele, resident in ANC 5D03, conducted the election. Chairperson Kathy Henderson was nominated by Delegate Lewis, seconded by Kathy Henderson. Adam Roberts was nominated by Keisha Shropshire.